It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, if you look on that gigantic, sharp, interactive board, you see a whole lot of logos. DEX Imaging clearly coming off that screen. DEX Imaging, the big mega dealer. A few years ago, they sold to Staples. They recently bought themselves back from Staples, got together with a private equity group called Gamut Partners. We've all heard their goals. They want to be a $1 billion+ business here in the United States. They want to deliver print equipment. We also heard, not too long ago, I did an episode about 10 days ago, where DEX Imaging is getting into the IT services business. They formed an organization called DEXTEK. They brought in the CEO that used to head up DEXTEK to run DEXTEK. 10 days ago, when I did that episode, I was kind of optimistic about DEX getting into the IT services business. And then I read an interview with the leader of DEXTEK in ENX magazine. As I'm reading this interview, I'm thinking to myself, holy crap. Folks, I thought I was reading a 15-year-old interview, and it wasn't with the leader of DEXTEK. It was with the leader of Konica Minolta USA, the gentleman that bought All Covered back in 2011-2012 timeframe. Got a little bit concerned as I was reading that interview. But DEX Imaging, they're on a mission. You know, I hear that HP is manufacturing a DEX Imaging machine. You're going to see DEX Imaging machines out in the field manufactured by HP. That's kind of exciting. I start thinking about HP. I start thinking about Marco. I start thinking about Konica Minolta and All Covered. What reminded me of Konica Minolta when All Covered was this interview in ENX magazine between the DEXTEK leader and ENX. As I was reading, I just thought about Konica Minolta and All Covered. Then I thought, well, maybe DEX Imaging is going to buy All Covered from Konica Minolta. If they buy All Covered from Konica Minolta, maybe they're going to get the direct operations here in the United States to go along with the rest of them they bought not too long ago, a couple years ago. Think about HP's position. Boy. You know, when you think about HP, you got to ask them a question. HP, is it time for you to come to the U.S. and buy a mega dealer like you did in Europe when you bought Apogee? Haven't really done anything like that since. But DEX Imaging, big aspirations. You're making a machine for them. Maybe HP is going to get together with DEX Imaging and buy Marco. And then go out and buy All Covered from Konica Minolta, get the U.S. direct operations. Oh, your mind can go crazy when you start thinking about this stuff. And then you start thinking about TD SYNNEX. We know that Marco does services for TD SYNNEX. We also know that TD SYNNEX is, well, they're headquartered in the Bay Area. And I'm sure that the leaders of TD SYNNEX probably know very well the leaders of DEX Imaging. They probably hang out at the same social network, if you know what I mean. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot going on at DEX Imaging. The move for them to go into IT services was a big move. When I shared my thoughts on that 10 days ago, I was optimistic, but then I read this interview, and I'm not optimistic. I'm a little bit scared. Because it does sound a lot like what the then CEO of Konica Minolta was saying when he bought All Covered back in 2011-2012 timeframe. And folks, I can't go through this whole interview, but it's out there, and I urge you all to read it. See, I'm not like the rest of the media and analysts. I don't mind you going to their sites. I don't mind showing ENX magazine's articles up here on the gigantic, sharp, interactive board. For some reason, they're horrified to bring my name up. But I think you all should go read this, because I think, well, there's a lot of things that are disturbing. The first thing is ENX doing an interview regarding IT services. I think the questions were pretty inept. And I mean, folks, it is what it is. But when you read an interview and your mind goes back 15 years, there's a problem with the interview, wouldn't you think? And I'm not the only one that's thinking this. Read the article. We're talking about how DEX Imaging has 86,000 customers we can go sell IT services to. That's horrifying. That tells me that DEXTEK has not defined an ideal customer profile if they think that 86,000 customers of DEX Imaging are prospects. There's no way in hell that all DEX Imaging customers could possibly fit an ideal customer profile of an IT services company, especially the one that's moving upstream. When I read this interview, I don't believe they're ever going to move upstream. I believe if they can sell $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 a month service contracts, they're going to think it's a big home run. The leader of DEXTEK, the former CEO of NexusTech, talks about how NexusTech was a $100 million company. It was a $100 million company owned by private equity that was a roll-up of IT services companies, and it's easy to get revenue when you buy it. It's a lot harder to build it organically with the right customer profile, based on the right contract size, having minimum contract sizes, selling fee-based assessments. All that stuff was missing from this interview, and it was horrifying to me. And look, I get it, you know. The people that run DEX Imaging are really smart people, probably some of the best entrepreneurs in our industry. But when I read this interview, I see that DEX race car getting off the racetrack toward prosperity, taking an exit toward maybe. And that exit toward maybe, we've seen other folks take it. We see a company called Visual Edge IT, backed by a BDC lender, Ares Capital. In 2023, in the third quarter, that lender to Visual Edge IT, remember they put the IT on the back of their name, we're an IT services company. Remember how they love to brag about how successful they are in IT services? And in the third quarter of 2023, it was their BDC lender, Ares Capital's greatest loss on any of their assets in the portfolio, and they have over 300 assets in the portfolio. Remember when Ares Capital wiped out a senior subordinate loan at Visual Edge IT? Wiped out $49 million and took a preferred position on the balance of that loan? Do y'all remember that? DEX Imaging, get off of that track and get back on the race track to prosperity. Rethink this. I want to share some thoughts. Signs of questionable thinking regarding print service organizations becoming IT service organizations. Here's some signs. Believing the print providers' end users are easily attracted to the new IT service deliverable. Print providers are not IT service providers. They never have been and they never will be. When a print provider decides they want to be an IT services company and they built the right infrastructure, they hire the right human capital that has nothing to do with print, and they go out in the market and they sell IT services, then they're an IT services company. Here's another thing. Believing the print provider's end user contracts and their relationships automatically are the same as contacts and relationships needed for IT service engagement. Those contacts and relationships that print providers have with end users will not automatically translate when they start selling IT services. Ladies and gentlemen, relationships without expertise will not last in the world of business. Businesses around America, around the world, do not buy relationships. They buy your expertise. Think about the print services deliverable. Everybody's a customer. Everybody. I mean, everybody's a customer. If they can't afford a new one, you sell them a used one. If they can't afford a big one, you sell them a little one. If they can afford a big one, even though they need a little one, you'll sell them a big one. Then you'll go back and you'll prematurely upgrade the lease and sell them another one. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the print industry is a mature marketplace, oversaturated. Most of these print providers are selling their own base. And at the end of the day, these print providers are not automatically positioned. There's nothing similar about it to move into IT services. And the relationships they have with those customers are irrelevant without the expertise. The cost in delivering value props, which are out of alignment with reality, will never scale profitably. That is a fact. And I believe that the print industry has put a value of what they bring to the end user at a much higher level than the end users themselves. It's out of alignment. When value props are out of alignment, you can't, it's a broken model. And I get it. No one wants to think that their once great customer now thinks of them as a commodity. Nobody wants to think that the once great customer that bought print equipment from them, isn't going to buy IT. Of course they are. They love us with the print. We bring them toner on Saturday when they run out. They're going to buy IT from us. Ladies and gentlemen, when I read the interview, they asked about the differentiator of DEXTEK, and it was a great word salad. But it was all permissions to show up. The value add today for an IT services company going into the marketplace that's full of competition, well, you better be able to go up market. You better have a minimum of who you want to engage. You better not waste your time getting a bunch of lead from copier reps to go in there and talk to unqualified customers, customers that don't have the right profile. None of that was discussed in the interview, and that literally scares me. So we don't know what's going to happen with DEX Imaging. We don't know how DEXTEK will turn out. But folks, what we can all do is we can learn from the big disaster roll-up called Visual Edge IT. We can learn from Konica Minolta and All Covered. We can learn by going back in time and reading interviews with leaders that were getting into IT services and what they thought and how they talked 15 and 10 years ago. And then ask ourselves a question. Hasn't a lot changed in the last 10 and 15 years, especially in technology? Well, the answer is an automatic yes, it's changed. Except the talk track, except the mindset. We'll see. Time will tell. And everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there, and I'll see you all tomorrow.